Boker Tov, we continue with our 3-minute daily dose of Torah. This week looking at Parshat Korach. And we think about how hard it must be to be Moshe Rabbeinu. To be someone so devoted to the Jewish people and to God, to hear God's call, refuse it for a while at the burning bush, and then, okay, accepting it. And then to know from God exactly what you're being told you must do, the role you must play, and the role that your brother Aaron will play too. If you remember, there's an interaction in the back and forth at the burning bush where God says, you know, your brother Aaron Achicha Halevi, he'll meet you, he'll see you, and he'll rejoice for you. And it's on that phrase, Aaron Achicha Halevi. Why was Aaron called the Levi? I mean, it's only strange to our ear, really, because later on he's Aaron HaKohen. But it could have just been left, Aaron Achicha, Aaron your brother, period. So Aaron Achicha Halevi. So there it's commented that because Moshe, you should have been the Kohen Hagadol, but because of all your hesitating and refusing to take on these tasks, so now you should know that Aaron is going to be the Kohen, not you. So from the very first interaction between God and Moses, there on that mountain at that bush, roles are defined. Moshe will be firstly the Redeemer, and then he will be the leader afterwards. After the redemption happens, he will continue to play the leadership role, teacher too, lawgiver too, lots of jobs. Pause 1 second, siren passes. And the priestly roles are already at least intuited by Chazal at the earliest moment that role is going to be filled. And if you don't go there, so then you have the instructions that God clearly gives to Moshe about the roles that are to be played. And suddenly your cousin shows up. Your cousin, that's what Korach is. He's a cousin, and makes claims that you've grabbed it all for yourself. The Levium, of course, is supposed to have these leadership roles, but they're supposed to be spread around, and yet you're holding it all to yourself. And there's nothing that Moshe can really do to dispel this, because God speaks to Moshe privately. No one has ever witnessed these conversations between God and Moses and Moshe, and so he's in a bind, right? When there's faith, when there's a core presumption of truth and honesty on the part of the leaders that you have there, so then it all works. But if somebody starts to challenge it, it can get really messy. So when it's undeserved and when it's wrong, as our country has gone through, it's, thank God people challenge it. But when people are speaking, working from an earnest place and telling the truth, then society can really break down. And that's what we'll pick up tomorrow, what Moshe has to disprove in the goings-on that follows. Wishing you all a day to consider it, and have a good day. We'll continue tomorrow.